All right, everyone. So this is going to be a reading on the San Jose Sharks from this book here, Fabric of the Game. I want to read this because San Jose Sharks are, how do I put this? They're the lovable losers of the NHL. There's something about them that you just can't quite put your finger on, but you like them. And with Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini coming up and being the stars of the Sharks, you think maybe this team will turn around one day, and perhaps they will. And I do suspect that they could win a Stanley Cup within the next 10 years. Just a prediction, but it's a long shot. Here we go. San Jose Sharks, 1991 to present. The team. In 1990, when George and Gordon Gund, owners of the Minnesota North Stars, were turned down in their request for $15 million to renovate the team's home arena, they started to look elsewhere. The Bay Area, where the Gunds once owned the disaster that was the California Golden Seals, was the largest market currently without a team in the National Hockey League. It also just happened to be a shiny new arena on the way in San Jose. Naturally, that caught their attention. The Guns were faced with a few complications. The league did not want to lose Minnesota as a market, nor did they want to lose out on the potential for millions in expansion fees that a Bay Area team would surely provide. There was also Howard Baldwin, the former owner of the Hartford Whalers, who had the exclusive rights to operate an NHL team out of the new San Jose arena. Needless to say, this was going to take some creative maneuvering to make everyone happy. On May 9th, 1990, at a meeting of the Board of Governors in Rosemont, Illinois, a solution to achieve this goal was approved by the league. Baldwin, along with Morris Belsberg, would purchase the North Stars for $38 million to keep the team up north. The Guns would get Baldwin's rights to the arena and immediately receive an expansion franchise for an expansion fee of $50 million from the NHL. The new team would begin play in the 1991-1992 season and would be granted the rights to 30 players under contract to the North Stars. In turn, the North Stars would get to join San Jose in an expansion draft in 1991, despite the fact the club was nearly a quarter century old. Each team would draft 10 players from the other 20 NHL clubs. If you follow the Guns' adventure through the NHL, it began with the Golden Seals, who relocated to Cleveland and merged them with the North Stars before finally taking half the North Stars down with them to San Jose to become the Sharks. One could certainly make the argument the Sharks were the demerged Cleveland Barons and therefore could have been a continuation of the original Seals franchise. Of course, neither the league nor the Sharks officially acknowledge this potential for a linked history between the two Bay Area teams. For the record, the Sharks are considered an entirely separate and new franchise that began its life in 1991. Okay, and then there's, and I don't know if you can see this here, but there's the photo of the of draft picks Ray Whitney and Pat Falloon as well. Just wanted to show that off there. Okay, that there. The Sharks' debut in the NHL came on October 4th, 1991, a 4-3 loss on the road to the Vancouver Canucks. The same two teams met up again the following night, this time in California at the old and outdated Cow Palace for the Sharks' home opener. The sellout crowd of 10,888 were given hats with a rubberized shark fin. Bay Area baseball legend Willie McCovey took part in the opening ceremonies, and there was an amusing laser show which included a shark gobbling up bigger and bigger fish until it finally snacked on a hockey player, all to tune of the theme from the movie Jaws. But all that pomp couldn't stop the Canucks, who beat the Sharks 5-2 for their second win in as many days. After moving into the new San Jose Arena in 1994, the Sharks surprised the hockey world by knocking out the mighty Detroit Red Wings in the first round of the playoffs in just their third season. The next 2 decades saw the Sharks consistently field strong teams, including Hockey Hall of Famer Teemu Selanne and Hart Trophy winner Joe Thornton. But they just couldn't get through the playoffs. It wasn't until 2016 that they found their way into the Stanley Cup Finals, winning the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl before falling to Sidney Crosby's Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. The continued success the Sharks have seen in the stands year after year since their debut has proven that despite what may have happened with the Golden Seals back in the 1970s, the Bay Area was indeed now a viable hockey market. The name. A contest garnering over 5,700 entries, suggesting a staggering 2,300 different names, referencing everything from sea creatures to computer parts to Oakland A's slugger Jose Canseco. The team announced the 15 names that received the most votes from fans. Blades came in first, with Sharks second, and others in alphabetical order, being Breakers, Breeze, Condors, Fog, Golden Gators, Golden Skaters, Grizzlies, Icebreakers, Knights, Redwoods, Sea Lions, and Waves. On September 6, 1990, the team announced San Jose Sharks was the team choice. About a year later, they revealed that it narrowly beat out 2 other strong contenders, Seawolves and the Stingrays. Through the Blades was the most popular entry submitted by the fans. We were considering several alternatives for a name prior to the sweepstakes. Sharks executive VP of Business Operations Matt Levine said at the time, but the creativity shown by many of the entrants was of great benefit to us. Sharks are relentless, determined, swift, agile, bright, and fearless. We plan to build an organization that has all of those qualities. Club management was looking for something that would appeal to children and adults. It needed to be a name that would inspire graphic logo applications for uniforms and merchandise. Read an October 1991 edition of San Jose Sharks magazine. The information included the neighboring Pacific Ocean in home. Neighboring Pacific Ocean is home to seven different varieties of sharks, and several area institutions provide great amounts of time and money to shark research, preservation, and education. Alan Spear, an attorney from San Jose, was chosen as the random winner, receiving a trip for two to the 1991 NHL All-Star Game in Chicago. 300 other smaller prizes, such as commemorative pucks and Stanley Cup videos, were distributed randomly to some of the others who entered the contest. The look. With hockey legend Gordie Howe, co-owner George Gund, and a few hundred lucky media and fans in attendance, the San Jose Sharks unveiled their original logo, uniforms, and color scheme at an on-ice press conference held at a local skating rink on February 12, 1991. Pacific teal, representing the ocean waters, was announced as the primary color, bringing back a hue not seen in the NHL since the California Golden Seals skated around these parts about 15 years earlier. Additional colors included black, gray, and white, which represented the colors of a shark. The entire process took 12 months, which included multiple focus group tests, a design the logo contest, and a uniform company suggesting they switch to royal blue instead of teal. The two logos were unveiled alongside the new uniforms, and for reference, you can see that shark right there biting down on the stick, and it does look a little different today, as you can tell, because of the evolution of their logo. The primary consisted of a shark just absolutely destroying a hockey stick bordered by a triangle, and at an alternate showing just a fin ominously peeking out above the waves. Both were designed by Terry Smith, an artist for JRS Enterprises based out of nearby Sunnyvale, California. It was a little more difficult than I anticipated, Smith told the San Jose Mercury News. Essentially, a shark is a cigar, and I was trying to give a cigar a personality. Smith and he had made nearly 40 different designs before settling on the now familiar mark, which was ultimately selected by both teams and leagues and officials. During the development process, we sought to have the logo communicated as the shark is in the water, determined, focused, swift, and fearless. Levine told the Associated Press, "We think it has those qualities." Howe, known as Mr. Hockey, who at the time was also the league's all-time leading scorer, had been picked to model the new teal uniforms in a shade certainly he never wore during his nearly 30 seasons as a player. "The crest you wear on your chest is what catches everybody's eye," Howe said. "And if this crest doesn't catch your eye, you'd better check your pulse. I'm a fisherman, so I like it," Howe added. "I'm scared of those suckers." A word mark spelling out the team's name with jagged letters resembling the teeth of a shark was designed by Mike Blatt of Lafayette, California, and had been unveiled several months earlier, accompanying the announcement of the team's name. With such a refreshing design hitting the league, Sharks merchandise immediately shot to the top of the NHL sales charts. For 1991, Sharks merchandise alone was responsible for more than a third of all NHL items sold. By the end of the year, the team was third overall in all of pro sports, behind only the NFL's Los Angeles Raiders and MLB's Chicago White Sox. Soon, teams all around the sports world were redesigning their logos and uniforms, trying to duplicate the Sharks' success. From the beginning, the Sharks logo was designed to sell merchandise, Smith would tell the San Francisco Examiner during the team's rise up the revenue charts. Other logos counted on the teams to sell merchandise. We counted on the merchandise to sell the team. As successful as the Sharks' look was in the early 1990s, after 16 years, an update was necessary, coinciding with the NHL switch to a Reebok uniform. The Sharks unveiled their new logo on January 24th, 2007. The new look was certainly based off the original logo, with good reason, as the team brought back Terry Smith to refresh his original creation. The biggest change was to the Shark, who got a much more aggressive look overall, and a new coat of teal splash over its body, a change suggested by several Sharks players during the 30-month design process. If you look at the old mark, you wouldn't even know teal was there. Teal was in there. Man. Smith told the San Jose Mercury News, noting the NHL logo's near total lack of the team's most famous color. Several other variations of the new logo were unveiled alongside the tweaked design, featuring the San Jose Shark in various different poses in and out of the triangle. And you can see Jumbo Joe right there pointing. And being the assistant captain. And then you have these, Kraken on the next page. So that was that. I do always appreciate having the San Jose Sharks, and I do notice that in the NHL that you will have, you are going to have teams that are bad, but you just can't get enough of, you just can't. And I don't have any connections to the Bay Area. I do occasionally root for the Giants when they do play the Los Angeles Dodgers, but they don't really have anything to do with, much of the Bay Area sports. I'm not against them. I'm not necessarily for them, but they don't typically play, the mid-Atlantic teams. They don't play the Nationals. They don't play the Orioles. They don't play the other teams. And when they do, it's just more of a blip on the radar than anything else. So I hope you liked that video. I appreciate the San Jose Sharks, and I hope you learned a little something about San Jose Sharks history. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Peace out.